Alright, I am back, and this is the day 2 of Star Wars week. And today we're going to be talking about Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. And again, these are my opinions. These aren't what the general thought process of these movies are. These are just what I take away from them, and whether I enjoy them or not is this is more for me than it is for anything else. So yeah, we're, of course, spoilers ahead. As with all my reviews, I talk about these things in depth. And as I said in the first one, if you haven't seen this movie, what rock have you been living under? Okay, so Attack of the Clones, it's got a lot more action in it than the first one does, and it has some really, really awesome scenes in this one. But it also has some more downtime and more dialogue. And as I said in the first movie review, episode 1, the dialogue for me is a good part, but sometimes it's not as good as other things. So in this movie, Anakin's much older. He's being trained to be Jedi. Obi-Wan's now Jedi Master, and it starts out with Senator Amidala, whatever her name is. Seeing if her name's on the back here, it's not. But anyway, it's got the queen from the first movie. She shows up in this one, and it turns out somebody's trying to kill her, and the Jedi are assigned to protect her. And this movie, originally, I thought this movie was a lot better than the first one, but it's about equal. It's got some issues that the original series is really starting to show. And one of those primarily is the Jedi themselves. And I kind of briefly talked about it in the last one, how I felt that they were being pompous. Fear leads to hatred. Hatred leads to despair. Despair leads to the dark side. Whatever crap like that. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you join a cult that says you can't have any kind of emotion, you cannot have loved ones, you cannot do anything for them, and all you get to do with your every single moment of every single day is sit by the Senate and wait for somebody to give you an order to go out and police the world or police the galaxy. Honestly, what kind of life is that? This is where, in this movie, a little bit in the first one, but in this one much more so, and then in the third one a lot more, I start sympathizing with the Sith more than I do with the Jedi. Mostly because of things like that. They're telling everyone you have to be emotionless drones. What's the point of that? What's the point of life if you can't enjoy it? Obi-Wan Kenobi showed anger in the first movie, and that's how he used his anger. He fueled himself with his anger and killed Darth Maul. And nobody said anything. But now you can't get angry. No one's allowed to get angry to fight. I mean, that's how Luke defeated Vader, and yeah, I know. But see, if he defeated Vader with his anger, and there was nothing wrong with that. It would have been if he executed Vader, a defenseless Vader, out of anger. then he would be crossing that line. Anyway. So they're trying this kind of murder mystery, whodunit thing is going on. You know, we got a bounty hunter, and then we get Jingo Fett, which is cool. I always loved Boba Fett. Well, yeah, it's interesting because it's like I like Boba Fett. I know everyone else liked Boba Fett, but really, what did he do in those movies? We'll get into that later, but Jingo in this movie actually did kick some major ass. I mean, he was a much better character than Boba Fett was, honestly. Anyway, so everyone's, Obi-Wan's investigating all these things, and while Anakin is protecting Amidala, that's it. I can't remember how to pronounce her name. Natalie Portman's character. So, he's off protecting her, and of course, you throw a teenager in with a hot chick, and you're gonna get some hormones brewing. It's just gonna happen. What did they think? Come on. I don't care how much training a boy has had. You don't lose those kind of things, those feelings. So yeah, he hooks up with her. Really, I mean, that I saw that coming, but I mean, I would have saw that coming had I not seen the original movies, knowing that Anakin was the father of Luke and Leia. But anyway, really, it's kind of sad because there's a huge section of this movie that I don't recall because it was nothing but mindless dialogue. And like I said, I mean, I enjoyed good dialogue, and I good storytelling, and I enjoy good politics and stuff like that. But this one didn't have that. There was a lot in this movie that you're just sitting there like, you're just kind of staring off like, huh? Hey, look, I got shrapnel here. Oh, look, I got another shrapnel. Oh, I was watching that movie. Oh, yeah. That's what happens in that movie. A lot, to me. It gets boring. And, that's really unfortunate because they really, really could have been pulling this movie off real well. So, you find out Count Dooku's bad-ish. He used to be a Jedi, now he's a Sith Lord working with Palpatine. Working on building the droid army, and then they get these reptile bug things to work with them. I'm sorry, guys. It was pretty lame. And his lightsaber. Oh my god, that was such a stupid design. The little pistol grip lightsaber. And it's like, I was making fun. Well, I mean, okay, the handle comes out and it's like, and it reminds me of the scene in Spaceballs when they're like, "Oh, Schwartz is as big as mine," and the Darth Helmet's lightsaber just kind of droops. It's just like. That's what it reminds me of every time I see it. It's like, oh yeah, he is kind of old, so I guess it would. But, I mean, it was just ridiculous looking. I mean, I was just like, really? That's stupid. C-3PO comes back in this movie. R2-D2's in the movie. Again, R2-D2 I'm okay with. C-3PO. See, now here's where you could have had C-3PO come into play normally, because you have Senator Amidala, doing all these things, and that's where you would have a droid like C-3PO would be, something like that. And if she would have brought him with her at the beginning of the movie, and now he's in the movie and follows her around because he's one of her servant droids, that would make sense. I would be okay with that. But it's not. What happens is Anakin starts getting feelings that his mother's in danger. So, I mean, it leads to a very awesome scene, but the build-up of the scene is just like, oh my god, again with this crap. Yeah, I mean, it's one thing, like, in the original, like, in The Empire Strikes Back, when Luke could feel the presence of Vader when they were flying away, and when Leia could feel the presence of Luke, who was in danger. They were close together. They weren't worlds apart. And I'm sorry, Vader may be powerful, but getting visions of his mother being attacked, it's just... It would have been cool if somebody, like, if this would have made Palpatine that much more evil and much more clever if he would have arranged this to happen, and then he would have sent somebody to tell Anakin about it, setting him up to have this happen, not just by chance having it happen. That would have made more sense, and it would have made Palpatine more evil, and just that whole scenario with him, that's just more devious. And he would be higher on my top 10 villain list. In this one, you do see Palpatine get emergency power. So he's able to keep office longer, which is great. Anyway, back to the Anakin part of the story. So he goes trying to find his mom. Turns out she was kidnapped by sand people, so he goes out to try and find her. He finds her, and she'd been beaten and raped and all sorts of horrible things by the sand people, and she dies. Like, she was just able to hold on just long enough for Anakin to say goodbye. And that is something I can understand, because that does happen a lot in real life, where, a parent or a child or a loved one holds on just long enough to say goodbye. They don't necessarily know that somebody's coming to say goodbye to them, but it's like as soon as they're able to do that, then their body's just like, okay, I'm done. So I can believe that part. I believe that part. Now, that turns into the best scene in the original, or in the prequel trilogy, right there. Hands down, the best scene is the scene is so quick too. You see Anakin come walking out of that sand person's tent, and his lightsaber comes on, and you see sand person standing there, and you just see him coming over with the lightsaber, and then it cuts out, and that's it. That's all you see. And it is such a well done scene, and such a well done use of, okay, cut the camera, we're done. You know what happens, and he even says it later, what happened, but it was so perfectly executed. Major props to Lucas for that one. Just major props. That was just good storytelling right there. You don't have to show him brutally killing every single person in that village. You don't have to. Imply it, and then walk away. It was brilliant on Lucas's part. There's a lot of things in the prequel trilogy and some things in the original trilogy where, I'll criticize Lucas for, but this one I will never criticize him for, because this was done very well, and it was just like, all right, that was cool. He tells what's her name later on that he killed everyone, the men, the women, the children, and it's just like that's Vader. That is Vader. Of course, Lucas bends Vader over and fucks him in the ass in the next movie, but we'll get there. And then they get notified from Obi-Wan Kenobi that he's in trouble because he was investigating all these things. Oh, Obi-Wan found the clone army just sitting there doing nothing. He tells the pompous asses back at the Senate about the clone army, and they're like, oh, we should investigate this. You go investigate this Count Dooku situation. Go into a heavily armed heavily armed drone fleet on this random planet with all these new bug lizard bad guys and a potential Sith Lord. You go over there and you take care of it by yourself. Why? Oh my god. Okay, so while Anakin's on his home world, he picks up C-3PO, who he built. Woo. And they grabs R2-D2 and they fly off to this planet to help Obi-Wan. They sent the message to the Jedi Council saying, hey, we need help. So the Jedi Council's on the way. Anakin gets there. Obi-Wan's there. He gets captured. Anakin gets there. They get captured. Yeah, they kill a bunch of bugs and some droids, and then they get captured. And then, of course, R2-D2 is flying around doing nothing. Yeah, he's flying around being like the superhero guy, and he really shouldn't be. And then C-3PO gets his head knocked off, and he gets built into droids and goes into battle. Yeah. Lame. Oh. And then they decide that they're going to do an arena-style battle with two Jedi Masters and the Queen versus what I would call the Cloverfield alien. Kind of more bestial version of Stitch and a rhino. It was stupid. A lot of this movie was stupid. Just stupid. It's so stupid. Oh my god. So then we get the Jedi come in and they start helping out, and the big battle ensues. There's droids everywhere. Jedi are dying. Their droids are being chopped into pieces. Then we get the new assault. No, it was not the roller ones. The roller ones were there, but then there was also the heavier armor one that can take a couple phaser hits to them. They were there with the, like the wrist-mounted guns. That was awesome. And then the bug things were there, and then you see what's his name? Jingo Fett. He's down there being a badass. Like that big rhino thing's come charging at him, and he just sees it coming, kills it with one shot. It's like, okay, boss. And he gets in a fight with Samuel L. Jackson's character. I can't think of his name at the moment, but he gets in a fight with it and gets decapitated. And then his little clone boy that was there picks up the head. And now we know where Boba Fett gets his costume. Literally off his father's corpse. Okay. I feel like kind of shoehorned that in there too. I think they really could have had Jingo Fett be more of a player for a longer amount of time. Like, maybe have him go into the third movie too. That would have been cool. I would have liked to see Jingo Fett kicking some ass for anybody. And so the Jedi aren't really winning very much. They're losing this battle, and then Yoda shows up with the clones. And then we get into the cool shit, because now it's not just some Jedi fighting some robots. We got the clone troopers, or if you're familiar with the original trilogy better, the stormtroopers, actually kicking some ass and fighting some drones. And this was just incredible. I love this fight scene. Having the Jedi quickly running over and taking over lieutenant spots and stuff like that of little detachments of the clone troopers was great. Very good use of Jedi in a battle scenario. It was really good, well done there, and it was great. Then Dooku decides that he needs to get away, so he flies away. Anakin and Obi-Wan go after him with the Queen, or Senator, or whatever, and then they get shot. She falls out, and Anakin starts freaking out, and Obi-Wan's like, "No, you gotta suppress your emotions more and do this by yourself. And she'll be okay." I'm sorry, but yeah, Count Dooku's important to get, but probably should have stopped to see if she was okay. I mean, regardless of Anakin's feeling towards her, we're talking about a senator. She's kind of important. Or maybe drop a couple extra clone troopers down. Or, when they land, send the clone troopers back to go see if she's okay. I'm sorry, but you don't leave somebody important like that. Just like, oh, she's not a trained fighter. If it was a Jedi that fell out of there, then you'd be like, oh, okay, if he's dead, then he's dead. If he's still alive, he'll be okay. He's trained. He was prepared for this. She's not. Again, the Jedi just aren't. Anyway. So they get over there and get in a fight with Count Dooku, and this is nothing like the Darth Maul battle. And Count Dooku basically kicks their ass real quick. He throws Obi-Wan down, knocks him out, and throws something on top of him. And then it's just him versus Anakin, and they go at it for a little while, and then he cuts Anakin's hand off. Alright. And then the worst part of this movie happens. Yoda walks in, and they have a lightsaber battle. I hated this. Mace Windu. That's Samuel L. Jackson's character's name. Mace Windu. They should have had him show up there, because he was supposed to be one of the better of the lightsaber guys. That would have been better. Yoda versus Dooku, not. I didn't like it because I don't like Yoda doing that. I liked Yoda being the older, wiser Jedi that is just better at the Force than everybody around him. It would have been cool if he was there and he was doing things like what Vader was doing in the Empire Strikes Back, where he's throwing things at Luke. It would have been cool if Yoda was standing there and maybe he was fighting him with just the Force power, or maybe he was using the lightsaber but he was not actually holding it and using the Force to move it. That would have been cool. Having him, the little old man, crotchety old man on the cane, and then all of a sudden he turns into fucking Kermit the Frog bouncing off of everything. It was stupid. Absolutely stupid. I could not stand that scene. And I know a lot of people really enjoyed seeing Yoda kick some ass, but that was not the right way to do it. I did not enjoy that at all. At all. It was one of those scenes like in all the child play movies where I have to ask, honestly, why would you have a hard time stopping a doll? It's a doll. You kick it. I don't care if it's as smart as you, it's still tiny. You can smash it. It's not that hard. It's doll. Just like Yoda's a frog. It was stupid. I did not like that at all. And Dooku gets away. Of course. He goes back to the Palpatine. And Yoda says, everyone's like, oh, well, at least it's over. And Yoda's like, no, begun the Clone Wars have. That right there is like, all right, that's cool. I'm now interested in this. Oh, this movie's over. Yep. But the second best scene of this movie was at the very end with Palpatine, and right after Yoda says that, and the music's like this big dramatic score, and it's doing, it's a new score for the movie, and then it just slowly builds, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, and all of a sudden it's the Emperor March, dun, 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 and you got the stormtroopers all piled out in perfect formation out on the streets. You got the Star Destroyers, or whatever they called them in the prequel trilogies. You got them loading up with troops and flying off into space, and you're like, yes, that's what I've been waiting for this entire movie. And now the movie's over. Are you fucking kidding me? So, anyway, for me, this was a pretty agonizing movie. I was not enjoying a lot of this. But there were some scenes in there that really pulled it back, like the Anakin scene and the Emperor scene at the end. I know he was an Emperor at the time, but you know what I mean. Those parts were cool. There were some, the love story was boring. C-3PO in the movie was boring. A lot of other things were boring. A lot of things were boring in this movie. Just poorly done. Oh, they just so happen to be close enough. Oh, I can't... Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh, I can't get a signal out to the Jedi Council. It's not far enough. Who's in range? Oh, Anakin just happens to be in range. That's how I feel about this movie. So all in all, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. Just right there in the middle of it. Most definitely is a movie. You can skip it. Won't hurt my feelings. You can watch it. Won't hurt my feelings. It's just kind of there. There's really nothing overall well done about this movie. Aside from a couple scenes, and that's really it. So.